Royalty. Power to the chosen people.
Okay, so this is the second video. This one, I want to deal with this idea of a false New Testament. And the reason why I want to deal with this is because I just want to give a thought or add a piece to this puzzle. Okay? This idea that the historical portion of the New Testament is false directly negates our position as Yah's people. Now, before you cut me off, let me further explain that. As a people, we are still writing, if you please, the fulfillment of Yah's covenant that we get in the Tanakh. Okay? So, if there is a blank historical slate between the end of the events in the Tanakh and now, it gives other cultures, namely the Jewish people from Russia and other places who do not directly identify with the original Hebrews of Scripture, being a people of color and being known as Hebrew Israelites, it gives those people the opportunity to rewrite or to interject themselves into the missing place. One of the main propagators of a false New Testament are the people who have taken the identity of Yah's chosen people. Why? Because if your history is void, then I can rewrite your history. We've seen it on countless times here in America, where because nobody wrote down our history and because our ancestors were forbidden from reading and writing for a very large portion of the time that they were here in this country, then guess what? Our history is now told through the lens of the victor, right? The one who has conquered and who has won. So to negate the validity of a history that tells, one of the telling points of the Brit Kadashah, the New Testament, is the rejection of the Hamashiach, because that's how we end up in our final captivity. How can we end up in a captivity for nearly 400 years for the same things that our ancestors ended up in captivity for 70 years and 10 years and 20 years? What made the wound of the past so grievous that in order to rectify or to bring shalom, restitution, so that there can be shalom, what was so bad that our ancestors did that put us in this position? We had always been pagan. We always didn't listen to Yah. Was he just like, I'm just fed up? 400 years for the last generation. Or was there a key event where something happened where it turned the tables and it showed the true heart and intent of our people, and Yah said, I have to purge that out, and it's going to take this much time, and then I'll bring them back to me, because it doesn't make sense any other way. And if there is that blotted out history, then yes, as a people, how dare black people just pop up on the scene claiming to be something, and then all this time from Second Chronicles, depending on if you have a Sefer Bible, is that fair? Or from Malachi until now, where people are waking up, or until the 70s when the people in Dimona went back into the land. All of that time we were just nothing? Or was the prescription for our wound, this captivity, based upon something that happened in the land pre-70 AD? Those things have to be rectified when you're dealing in logic. We are still writing the New Testament. If you don't believe in the New Testament, you don't believe in your place in fulfilling those things that have not been fulfilled in the Tanakh. When we get in our canonized version of the New Testament is an account during a specific time that gives us a marker, right? And what we get in the transatlantic slave trade is a marker based upon the things in Tanakh. It's still a portion of the fulfillment of Scripture. What you get in Paul's writings and these other writings are one person or a few people's account of a marker in history. They're giving markers. Right now, there are some of us who are writing and putting forth information and restoring the identity to our people. Those are markers in history, fulfilling Scripture. This is the fulfillment of the New Testament. You being alive right now is the continual writing of the Brit Kadashah. What you get in the book of the Revelation is a guideline based upon Torah and Tanakh that tells us where we stand in the scheme of time. So then to reject those markers, you are rejecting your position in writing the other portions of the New Testament. You are the New Testament. You are the fulfillment of Yah's promises in these last days. So to say there's no New Testament, the reason why some of us go, look at you crazy, is because you missed your marker. And you don't want to err on missing the visitation of Yah, as he says in the book of Jeremiah. You don't want to. You want to be prepared for his visitation to his people, and you need to use these markers and these historical things and not let other people who don't understand your markers convince you that your markers don't matter. And the reason why that's so passionate to me, because I know that seems like both of those things came like out of nowhere. My aunt, who told me where I came from, told me that we came from Madagascar. And we got on a Dutch slave ship, and our ship docked in Holland. And we were let off in Raleigh, North Carolina. And that's how my family got here. That was my marker. So to reject those markers rejects the fulfillment of family and history and setting a historical marker for me to take that nugget of truth and then carry it to now and see all those things come together. Begin to research the slave trade and why it started in East Africa, in Zanjiland. If you don't know what that is, go look it up. And where the people in East Africa actually came from and how they got there and what their influence was and why it led to, obviously, intracontinental slave trade. If you don't know stuff I'm talking about, please grab Hidden in Plain Sight or Babylon to Timbuktu. Orion I See Research is a YouTube, is a website, and you can learn about all that stuff. And it led me to those markers. But if I would have rejected my position and my ancestors and how those intricate details played a part, then I wouldn't be where I am today. So that's something to think about. You are the fulfillment of the New Testament, and it's continuing until it is all fulfilled in the end. Shalom, shalom.
Royalty. Power to the chosen people.